Okay, as you see, we are starting, connecting, and good to go. Oh, looks like okay, sorry, I have some disturbing, so let me spotlight you because you are the star. I'm just a humble moderator of your session. And so here we are. And as always, this is a Q&A session, so welcome into the session. My goal is only to moderate a conversation and try to invite people to throw questions. You can use different ways. You can use the chat, you can use the Q&A, and also you can raise your hand. You will find raise your hand under the speaker portrait. There will be a hand sign. If you click it, I will invite you on stage and then you can talk with the speaker. It's very easy, very straightforward. Don't be shy because we created the event with the idea to promote connection and conversation. So it's not a frontal presentation anymore. It's about connections and discussions.
Okay, maybe it's a good idea. I do some summarizing.
Yes, please, absolutely.
When I talk about digital decoupling, I mean it's good we have a sense of importance. We have a good structure for work and digital world. We need to explore more the potential for have a distribution of the work and teamworks around the globe, not exactly in the corporate environment. That's why I'm talking about digital decoupling. We have our environment for work much more distributed, and then explore the potential for people that have great expertise to join the team. But at the same time, we have a synchronized environment to work very organized, and then to deal with complexity, and then have great results for develop great solution for digital world. I mean, when we have some kind of solution for virtual reality or digital twins or Internet of Things, there's a lot of complexity behind these solutions. How to develop this in the digital environment? We need to improve the work structure model, the traditional corporate, for a new kind of solutions and digital platforms. And then that's the main idea behind digital decoupling, to work integrated and synchronized by events, a platform that manages this kind of events and distribute teamwork execution for effectiveness results. That's the main idea.
I think it's super clear. I'm sure someone still has some doubt about how to use it in practical ways, because it sounds a bit abstract probably if you don't, if you are not into. So can you make us, while we're waiting for some questions, some practical example or some project where you developed this kind of?
Yeah, but when we have many kind of projects, it's a large one. It's a college program. It's several projects together, and then for solving some kind of problem, AI or many IoT solutions, because you have you need to develop software, you need to develop firmware. As a project in the smart cities is a good example for that. You have many players, many stakeholders get involved to try to develop and integrate complex solution. To have a great experience, digital experience, you need to have, as I said, firmware development, you need to have software development, infrastructure development. Also, you need to have some contextualized experience from environment, as I said, as a government entities, because you need to have some permissions for to use Internet of Things in the public environment. Another kind of solution, complex solutions, autonomous driving, or this kind of solutions demanding many expertise, different expertise. And then you have a structure of the conventional project, but it's the work package distributions. It's essentially you manage this in several companies or group of experts. And then this is a kind of projects we talk about. If you want to leverage this digital world, we need to have more collaboration work structure models, because we need to have more people around the world sharing knowledge, and then to improve the solutions development. You don't need to go to the Silicon Valley and then work for Google or work for Facebook or Apple. You can to just join this team by a new different work model using blockchain or smart contract. It's another kind of example. People join in this journey for work and share expertise, but you're not in the traditional hierarchical company structure.
Let me mute. There's a question for you in the Q&A if you would like to read it.
Okay, let me check here.
Because I think it...
It's in Portuguese, please.
Yes.
It's actually... Sorry?
I can't help you with Portuguese. Sorry.
Yeah, it's about how to the main roadblock to develop this kind of solutions, the company. I suppose it's the mindset from people, the men, the great companies is about the ownership. They defend yourself for property. That's why I like the solution from NFTs, non-fungible tokens, because you can have some ownership for part of solution, and then you have some remunerations about that, revenues from that. It's important for intellectual people. Even more, the society evolution have happened more, and people have knowledge to share, and then you don't need to have a fixed contract in the company to work as an employee. You can do part of solution, but great companies have defend yourself for be only one owner of the solution or product or service. And then this mindset you need to disrupt and then work more collaboration model, and using the power of the digital solutions like blockchain, where you can trust and the asset transferred, because it's important to have a new concept of digital assets like bitcoins or NFTs, because when you have this mindset, you can to participate in a new kind of model solutions. That's a main roadblock I saw for companies. But have others, of course. We need to improve process development in the companies, because you need to try to allow to have outside members from the company to work together, the main team, and try to have a great cluster of people around the project contribute for solution. That's the proposition here. Stefano Scarsini. I answer your question, Stefano. We have many challenges for solve this kind of problem. Of course, it's not simple. But what I would like to share here is what's the important thing to share here is about the digital solution like virtual reality, like many complex situations that you want to try to taste, have a good experience using great technology, connectivities, 5G, and a lot of things. I don't believe that you solve this kind of problem or accelerate this coming to the market from traditional model of working. That's the question here. The traditional model of work, we have upfront investment. We need to have a lot of money to put it upfront, and another kind of model of works, you can to explore the network, you can to explore the digital environment, to compose, to componentization solutions, and then to make feasible and financeable. That's the idea behind here, to establish a solution for that. And then when we have this framework of work, we will have much more power for solving problems and to deliver complex solutions. I have more questions here in the chat. Muito obrigado. Okay. More questions, more curiosity, more ideas.
Don't be shy. You can even raise your hand and join the stage if you would like to know more. So
many of these solutions that you love to see in the real reality, virtual reality, it's a complex solution to develop. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's a lot of code behind, it's a lot of work hours, and then you have a lot of platforms, and it's a challenge to solve this.
we have a comment in the chat, say the ability to cross time and space to come together to discuss and learn.
The ability to cross time and space come together to discuss and learn. Yeah, learn is very important. Now, that's fast cycle of learning. It's a kind of problem you have in traditional world. Everything is more slowly in the traditional company way of work. We need to have more digital environment for learning, and then update this learning each other, because digital solutions demand this kind of approach. We need to understand a little bit more how to share knowledge, because every day, each day more, we have newness, things happen, emerging technologies, and then it's hard to learn so fast and to apply this technology. That's why it's a collaboration model, a cluster of people together work in the common platform, event-based, like I said before, is a kind of solution. We have some horizontal perspective solution for work, totally digital. That's why the great effect from pandemic ways period. We learned to work more digitally. People were stressed to work in virtual environments, and then it's to make the people see what's good things to happen and bad things to happen. But what's the important is we have much more broad perspective for makes this thing happen. We can join people around the world to try build solutions and taste more experience, and that's important for learning. This is important for learning in digital environment.
While we are waiting for more questions, I have a question for you because you mentioned before monetization. You mentioned also in your speech non-fungible token. So from the pure business point of view, how about player two and more? I didn't.
Player two? Not sure that's the question.
You talk about Jared. Would you like to go to join the conversation? Just raise your hand. We will invite you on stage. Sure. Super. Let me invite you on stage. Oh. Here we are. Hi, Jared.
Hey.
Hi, Jared.
Hey. So you mentioned Ready Player One, and like the idea of one player, I guess is really true in a way of how life is. But it seems to me what I've noticed, like the takeoff of network thinking, network cognition, network note taking. Like some of the applications like Roam Research has multiplayer note taking. So they're coming together to have book clubs. Like in video games, they have multiplayer video games. It just seems that when you cross time and space, it doesn't matter where you live on planet Earth or another planet or on a space station. It doesn't matter. As long as you have access to a screen, some glasses, a ring, something that digitally connects you to some kind of infrastructure, you can get wherever you're going so much faster than traditional settings, which it's more costly, time consuming, and you don't know if you'll get there. So just wondering about that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I agree with you. The main question is, to get funding to leverage this kind of solutions in digital world, we need to demonstrate more effectively way of work. We need to have a productivity in teamworks. And then when we try to solve problems or develop many people around work together, it's not just put people together, you need to have some kind of intelligence process behind to effectively deliver solutions. If you have some kind of model for this, many companies funding solutions development for digital reality or digital world, and that's I worried about, because we have many potentials people around the world to work alone, to work in small teams and huge teams, or but you need to have some kind of work model to join these people for delivery effectively. And then you have many potentials for address this kind of problem you mentioned here. You need to understand the player one, player two, and the trust of network, and then try to solve many kind of other problems. Many people smart people work alone, work separately, not in behind the hierarchical huge companies, and then but you just waste this kind of knowledge and productivity from these people. That's I try to inspiring people to to understand that is necessary. The digital environment have a work model in digital world.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like crowdsourcing became a real big thing. It applies to funding, but you could even do it for expertise or for work or for any kind of distributed, right? You could crowdsource the time and duration for almost anything, right?
Exactly. That's the same mindset we have in the latest years before computers information society. People just wake up, go to the offices, and then work in the manufacturing environment, and then go to home. Now we have in computers, and then go to the offices, the same model, and then try again to develop solution, work, blah blah blah. But when we don't see a great perspective for improve these models of work, we stay in the old way of work, and then we don't have a perspective for improve in leverage a digital world. It's very complex. I watches the session behind us, before us, many solutions developed, hotels, virtual presentation, but it's it's huge investment, and then expecting reach out some kind of market isolated. I mean, we need to have as Ethereum do, blockchain do. It's much more efficiency to asset transfer way, and then I strongly agree and believe it's important to improve this kind of work model. That's extremely important for society. Understand that we need to work in virtual environment more efficiently and then distribute it.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like, because I've watched so many futuristic films and read so many futuristic books. And what I've noticed is there seems to be a lag between what's predicted, what's possible, and then what is. And then also whether it reaches, like manufacturing, like the commercial field versus the consumer field. There seems to be this, like the early adopters, right? But then everyone else, there seems to be this huge, does it have, I guess, utility for a large enough amount of people that want to use whatever it is, so that it becomes cost effective in the first place?
A huge gap between early adopters and massive use for society. And then we need to have many people using our solutions, digital solutions, to make this fundable. That's why the question, you need to work effectively. Many opportunities come from this field. As you said before, we have a huge gap, because when you see virtual reality, digital twins, and go to the traditional offices, people is far from this. Is not using much of this. Just early adopters, just innovators, and then the mass of people, yes, behind, and I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, is not using this. And then because it's expensive, because it's very complex to solve, and then how to deal with this situation. In my perspective, I suggesting to develop a knowledge for work collaboratively and around the value. We join people and effective process for distribution work labor, and then you have a way of work for solving this kind of problem. That's the perspective here, okay?
Yeah, I'm interested in anything that you have to share about the virtualization, like almost, I heard it referred to as mirror world, like when you virtualize everything and the virtual world becomes a mirror of the physical world. Like you can autonomously operate things from a physical location, whether it's vehicles or machinery. I heard you can, like, there was like a restaurant where they're operating what do you call them? The serving mechanisms from another location, or a hotel, or forklifts, or semis. There's, you can do things, remotely manipulate things. I was just been trying to think about what is like the best, like how do you prove the solution is viable so that a large majority make it real? Because we're always talking about the word virtual. Well, how do we make things so that there's like no distinction between virtual and real? Like everything becomes real because we're all experiencing things and we're all feeling things. So like, like we're talking about the different, smelling things, feeling things, seeing things, like how, so that you couldn't tell the difference between any of it.
It's, test, simulate, or have some user experience for digital solutions and traditional solutions. It's a challenge, but we can try to solve this kind of problem by experimentation, short cycle of experimentation. That's the main idea. You don't build up a long journey development and then to try to test it for reality. You need to get involved in your cluster of solutions development. People that can try to use on ordinary day or kind of problem that you face off, and then to get feedback all the time for driving your solution. But all this kind of stuff is a challenge. It's new for us. It's new for everyone. But the evolution is that. The evolution is how to deal with digital environments, how to develop digital projects is totally different from digital traditional projects, and another mindset. As a startup get much more attentions in the Silicon Valley or around the world, because it's a small company, very flexible, very fast, very focused on deep solutions, and then that's why startups get much more evidence, importance in the market, because they provide solutions that no big companies worry about, and they take a very niche solution and solve this problem and then get attentions. And the same it could happen for a large teamwork around the globe for trying solutions.
What about like solving, like say there's a problem, or that people are circling around as a project? I've seen it mentioned like, well, how would you bring people together and where would you mention those problems? Like, like a company has a product or a service and they have a roadmap. Say a group of people came together and they're like, well, we want to start picking problems, like a need gap, find a need gap, and then just start solving them. How would you whiteboard it? What tools would you use?
Roadmap is good. Roadmap is very, very important because you can visualize the next step. Your teamwork can visualize where is the mainstream for the pipeline, but have many others. Design thinking is important too, because when in the agile approach for project management, we have short cycle of development, and then we have select some features to develop, and then these features have a short cycle to implement, and then you go to the user test or user experience delivery for get feedback soon as possible, and in the same way, in the same moment, you can to have this big picture for your product journey or roadmap. You can see I delivered this, but I'm going to there. If you approve this behind here, this as a it's value for you. You need to check if you deliver some benefit for business, and the people users get back to you the feedback saying, okay, it works for me, it's good, let's do the next step of the solutions, and then you go for it. But it's important, as you said, people need to see the way, the journey, and to engage on it.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, Jared. We have 5 minutes more. If there's any other kind of question. If not, my question before was for you, Zozimo. How do you see NFT in the business in terms, because we see NFT today for artists, for let's say individual creating any kind of, let's say, digital good, but how do you see in terms of generating a business for a company?
Yeah, in my point of view, it's very important NFTs because the authorship, and rights, it's important to keep for the owner. Ownership is everything for entrepreneurs world. And as example, you have music, you have pictures, you have a lot of things, but it's the same for code development solution. We are computer programming. You can do a library or a piece of code, and then you take these NFTs for you, and then every kind of solutions that select your code for integrate the solutions bigger, and we have some payment for that, or it's similar is smart contract. Smart contract in Ethereum platform, we are hired to develop a piece of solution, and this piece of solutions have ownership, and then everyone that use this will have some penny or some cents for each execution of that. It depends of the business model established, but it's very important for digital. People call it nomad, digital nomad. People that work around the world digitally. It's NFTs is a asset blended.
How do you see that playing out? Because I've seen that quite a bit. I haven't done a lot of research into it. Would that be specifically like, do you see it as a consumer, or is it mostly like, who do you think are the primary users of that? Like I know crypto, for instance, has become a really big thing. And it's like, so would NFTs be basically just like crypto is digitized money? Would NFTs be digitized art? Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah. You can to not just digitalize art or music or other kind of stuff, but I think it's important. We have another kind of asset established in the network, and the NFTs is possible. You establish some stamp or tag in your code, or people now calling this microservices. It's a API, and then you kind of develop a API, and then offering this in the platform as called for your API. You can charge the solution provider. That's a way of monetize for business, but it's very important because it's sustainable for these digital environment professionals. You don't need to, get hired for big companies, tech companies. You can develop solution from yourself, a piece of solution, but it's hard to visualize where you can to do your job. That's why it's important to establish a program or a project, and then you make part of this teamwork, and then the piece of these solutions is authorship for you. And that's why it's important to have a little bit more structured way of work in digital work, in digital environments, and then monetize this.
Would you almost be saying a way to verify like a credentialization of experience or project, like a way to, what you've accomplished?
I don't know. Maybe it's a kind of solutions. It's not figured out yet. People trying to develop a lot of things, but as I said before, we never get funding for autonomous solutions, autonomous developed solutions, if you don't show up for the people that invest on it, that you have a structured environment, productive environment, and process. That's the question. You can get a lot of money to develop solutions, but you need to show that you are organized around the value, you are organized to develop a microservice, API, blah, blah, blah. But, if don't, people just invest in huge people again, in huge company again, and put more money, and then the same cycle keep you on.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you. I need to close the session
Okay.
soon. Sorry, Jared. But
No problem.
please connect with Zozimo. And Zozimo, I would like to go deeper once you will have more time, because as you know, I have this startup that is based on experiences and generating experience. So I'm very curious to know more. What could be your vision there to generate a great user-generated content, but with the opportunity to generate single, let's say, values in terms of blockchain and regulation. Thank you a lot for the conversation. Thank you a lot for being with us. And see you in the next section, or now we will have 10 minutes of networking and then 2 more sessions.
Okay. Thank you, Fabrizio. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Bye.